It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Lakeland Magic's NBA G League's president, Heinz Steinberg. How are you doing today?
Doing all right, Brandon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to become a president on the professional level?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I really enjoyed kind of the different stops I've been in and just the overall business aspect of running a team and understanding the business operations, the strategy, marketing wise, kind of the thrill of bringing fans into the stadium and talking with the community leaders and how do you make an impact there. So it was kind of all of a bigger scope that seemed very intriguing, and the challenge is I just kind of kept shooting for that next level and the different stops I'd been in. That's kind of how I knew that was the next step that would be enjoyable.
Can you talk about, of course, your time being the basketball manager for the University of Utah?
Yeah, so when I was at the University of Utah, I had worked 1 year underneath Jim Boylan when we were in the Mountain West Conference, and 3 years underneath Larry Kraskowiak when Pac-12. And during that time, I just really accepted all different roles and was willing to basically do anything to kind of get my foot in the door. And I did laundry, I did film coordinating. I oversaw our Adidas/Under Armour allotment, kind of when we made that switch points. I helped coordinate travel to whatever degree, kind of name changes. And then ultimately also set up for practice and jumped in and used to be able to run with the guys, not so much anymore. Not very good at all back in the day, but yeah, those are all kind of the fun things that I did as a basketball manager at the University of Utah.
What was your time like at Iowa Stompin as the marketing intern and director of basketball operations?
Yeah, the Idaho Stampede. So that was the Utah Jazz's D-League team at the time in Boise, Idaho. And, it was great. I really got to know the NBA D-League as it was getting going. I worked for our team president, Steve Brandis, who's become a very close friend of mine, and really just kind of took me under his wing and let me soak up all the information that he had readily available, and he'd be willing to let me been as kind of marketing intern, as I guess we would call it, like really just kind of take a seat in his office and take notes and yeah, just kind of be on every and all project that everybody else kind of had the slotted role, and I was kind of a catch-all, do everything that people didn't want to do, jump into different spots that people might want to have done but didn't have time and weren't going to be judged on it per se, tied to their role. So learned a lot that way. And then as director of basketball ops, I was really doing everything that I mentioned when I was working at the University of Utah, but I was essentially in charge of it. So I was in charge of our budget for travel, booked all the flights, and the hotel relationship, the liaison with the league, was on the floor coaching, and kind of helping with drills and everything else like that. So really good learning experiences I kind of got going in my professional career.
What was your time like with the Wisconsin Herd as the business operations and director of game day production?
Yeah, so that was that was an interesting one for me because it was the first time that I took a step away from having really kind of a basketball role, a coaching role. So I followed our team president that I got to know and work with in Idaho, and when we went to Wisconsin, we launched the team. So in 2016-17, no, I take that back. 2017-18 was our first season in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I had a lot of family there, so there was some pride and different pieces that was fun for me. But along the same time frame there as it was here in Lakeland, it was really kind of creating that footprint, that identity, the first, wave of fans, their first giveaway. Um, from a game production standpoint, it was a lot of fun. I didn't think I didn't know how much I was going to enjoy it, but oversaw the department that, essentially had all the music and the prompts and the fun interactive games on the court and the t-shirt tosses, like what gets people going and, hopefully hungry and coming back for more. So again, just another great learning experience there, as I was just kind of at that next point in my career, understanding how to run a team. Had a bunch of help underneath me, full-time staff that on game day would work besides or, underneath me to some level. And yeah, it was just a really great experience that helped gain really a good gist of knowledge in the outward facing marketing on a game day. Yeah, as you'd see.
How has your stops along the way helped you to become the president of the Lakeland Magic that you are now?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So the different stops, a lot of it's kind of relationship building, and getting to know different people and different, being a peer and sounding board. Biggest thing that I've kind of learned in different avenues is I've been to the most part, I've done every single role. So um, kind of growing through different levels of the G League and it being really small staffs. Like most teams don't have more than like 20 is the peak cap from what the best I'm aware of. Most teams are hover around your like 10 to 15. So when your director of marketing, the position's open, that was one that like I stepped in for however long and worked with. Production I had a hand in. I wrote some PR stories back in the day. I was in charge of social media for a little bit of time, ticketing, corporate partnerships. The G League as a whole is a really cool stepping stone, and the ability for people to jump into different avenues that they might have not ever before, or just like really get experience and understanding at a kind of a larger level. Maybe not as detailed and clearly not the same budget lines or impact that like an NBA or NFL, MLB, like those large organizations would have, but definitely something to kind of just really understand the knowledge base of different roles. So being able to do that across my different teams time in the G League helped me kind of get ready for this new challenge.
What are some of your roles and responsibility as the president of the Lakeland Magic?
Yeah, so I oversee and essentially steer the ship of our organization as it comes to like the easiest, I suppose to put it like black and white is expenses and revenues. So I help programming and figure out how and what strategies we're using to produce revenue, and help oversee the teams and work with teams. Ultimately, the guys and gals that work for us do an amazing job, and if I get too involved, I just get in the way, and they do incredible work. But it's just kind of helping oversee the operations to make sure that we're in the right scope and direction for revenue creation and generation, as well as then expense control and making sure that we're doing the right thing for spending money to make money, making sure that we're giving back to the community, making sure that we're taking care of our players and our coaching staff with everything that they need. But ultimately, it needs to fall into a budget. So it's kind of those would be the two grand scopes of things. But then ultimately, have a great team and staff that they do all the legwork and the great work and everything that shows. I'm just there to help where needed.
What are some of the things that you have helped build for the Lakeland Magic?
Well, that's interesting because I just took over my role as team president in July of 2020. So it was right in the middle of the pandemic. We played a very shortened season in a bubble. Normally play 50 games. We were only able to play 18. So from like an accomplishment standpoint, humbly, I would say I really haven't done much yet, or not what I want to end up doing. So I have grand plans and want to, see different things come to light here in Lakeland. But as of right now, we haven't had ticketed games here at home just yet. So really, the real accomplishments is by everybody on the basketball side of things, and our director of marketing communications, own facilities, and everything the Orlando Magic have done, because we've been able to team really do very well on social media. That's all credit to them. And then from a player standpoint and coaching standpoint, winning the G League finals, again, it's nothing that I've done in any sort of but just something that I've been able to be around. So excited for that. But as far as me personally, or the business side of things, we're very, very hungry for our first season back out of the pandemic here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. And then at that point, then, if we have this conversation again in a year, we'll talk on accomplishments and any fun stuff that we were able to do then. But all on the court, great success stories that would be better suited for our general manager and head coach, for sure.
What was the transition like during the pandemic from going from where you were to now the team president?
Yeah, that's a great question. Crazy is probably the easiest way to answer it. It was just a weird time of uncertainty. Like, we knew direction, and we were anticipating and hoping we were going to be back in market, and we had to prep like that was going to be the case. Not knowing, or then slowly learning that there was going to be a chance that we weren't. So it's something that none of us had ever done before. Like, no team president in the G League, or in fact in any sort of sports worlds, didn't have this experience come up until the pandemic, to the best of my knowledge, unless I'm missing something completely. So it was different. Everyone went through it. Business owners went through it. You name whatever industry. So by no means am I trying to play the fiddle or make it seem like it was me on us, but difficult, different, fun. Like, you go through it with your staff and you do the best you can, and there's some moments and funny pieces, you build it out, but it's also stressful. It's new and different, but very exciting, and I'm very, very fortunate to have an amazing team again that I work with here in Lakeland, and then amazing support staff in Orlando, and people that I can pick their brain and, how do you do this? How do you do that? Our basketball crew is amazing. And then colleagues across the league as well. So, some of those tough parts that you say, stressful, difficult, weird, everybody went through that, but it was also, very humbling and exciting and different, and a puzzle in many regards too. So, a lot of positive and interesting came out of it as well.
Of course, whenever you got the job as the president of the Lakeland Magic, were there any people that you contacted in the NBA G League, such as the Greensboro Swarms, to figure out how to become the president of a NBA G League team?
No, I suppose the conversations that I've ever had tied to becoming president would have been with my former boss, Steve Brandis, with Wisconsin Herd, who I had worked with for 5 years between the Stampede and the Wisconsin Herd. And then Shelly Wilkes, who helped launch this team with her staff at that point in time. And then, had been here since the beginning, and I was her vice president for a season. So she had been amazing as well. But really, those are the only two people that I kind of had contacted on the team side of things. I'm sure I've had random conversations and just kind of getting to know different people within the league on overall strategies, and if that parlays to that answer, maybe. But no, that was kind of where it stuck to, particularly from a team standpoint.
Who are some of the teams in your conference of the Lakeland Magic?
Boy, so we're in the Eastern Conference. So we have, for the most part, any team that you look at the Eastern Conference, their affiliates fall in line with us. There's one or two that don't. I know the Miami Heat and the Sioux Falls Skyforce. Sioux Falls is in the West, I believe. But for the most part, I mean, I would just be rattling off teams here, but Greensboro, Wisconsin, everybody that's in the Central Division, Wisconsin, Chicago, Fort Wayne, Canton, the Atlantic, your Bostons, New Yorks, and then your Southeastern, which would be us, Greensboro, the Wizards, like Atlanta Hawks and their G League team. So, yeah, it's split, but those are some examples if that helps.
Can you talk about, of course, the process of being affiliated with the Orlando Magic?
Yeah, it's fantastic. They're an amazing resource. They come with so much knowledge, so much experience, and have done it. I mean, it's the definition of but I mean, yeah, there's some people that are at the Orlando Magic that have been here since the inaugural season of their inception, and so to be able to talk about the local market and what's worked and then just like physical help, like they support us in ways that we have shared partners where it makes sense. We have it in where employees come down, and like some of our part-time crew, they're Orlando Magic employees, but they come down and they help us on game days. They help in some regards. I mean, because we're as an affiliate of theirs and a footprint of theirs in a different market. We act as a different arm. So there's some grassroots campaigns and different community pieces that they either supply different products and giveaways, or again from like a staffing and ideas. Really, like the Orlando Magic and all parent clubs, I would assume for the most part, do an amazing job in helping the G League teams really kind of stay focused and kind of continue on those different paths.
Of course, have you had any interactions with the co-founder, Pat Williams, of the Orlando Magic?
I have not. I've not had the fortune to meet him. I believe there's been some members of our staff that have had that pleasure in the past. But no, I personally have not.
What is the process, of course, whenever players from the Orlando Magic come down to the Lakeland Magic?
There's a couple different layers of it. So really, for the most part, and I'm sure this happens different ways in different teams, but either up in Orlando, the general manager or the head coach, painting just a broad stroke on what most teams would end up doing, they would note that someone's either on rehab or needs more playing time or whatever those different pieces may be, and then they'll reach out to head coach and general manager for the G League team and basically let them know, hey, this player is coming or these players are coming. They'll send normally a support staff to come with that player to come down, and then pending the team or if it's a road trip, they'll be integrated right into the practices, the team dinners, the flights, the hotels, like whatever the pieces may be. And a lot of times they're coming down to work on something, whether it's injury or whether it's, a certain skill set. So normally those instructions come from the parent club. And then the G League team enacts it, whatever way, through coaching or through the general manager process.
Of course, what is the process whenever a player from Lakeland gets called up to the Orlando Magic?
So that one is an interesting and fun one too, because I would say that stories go whatever which way, and there's really not a standard norm, but when players get called up, that means that they're on a G League contract, so they are technically employed by the NBA G League. And then Lakeland Magic or whatever other G League team has their rights. So whether it's being drafted or an affiliate player, the different processes that you can be tied into the G League team. A call up is truly like an amazing thing, and everybody's super happy for the player and the coaching staff, and all their teammates helped really get everybody where they need to be. But yeah, it's fun, it's different. I've seen people get surprised. Some people know like it's a matter of time. I mean, most people hopefully know it's a matter of time and they're, destined to do it and they work their butts off. But I mean, it happens different ways. There's been like literally the NBA head coach comes into an office and surprises somebody. There's been, sometimes you get called to your agent, for the agent to tell them directly. And then sometimes it's your local, if it's called up by your own team, then sometimes like if the Magic call up somebody from the Magic, Orlando to Lakeland, then, like our general manager or the head coach, Stan Heath at the time, like they would maybe go tell them direct. I have not physically been a part of it when it's happened during season. So really it's kind of, it happens in various numbers of ways.
What are some of your future plans when it comes to being the president of the Lakeland Magic?
Future plans. Well, really a lot of it has to do with giving back to the community. We're planning a lot of different volunteer efforts and making sure that people here just, they deserve our presence and things that we can do, our time. We have extra, jerseys, Gatorade product, different things that we can help support when it's above and beyond our means. And then other plans would involve kind of a giveaway strategy and how do we, excite the community to come back and join us. And what's, again, a blessing to us is we won the championship. It's really like the biggest plans is kind of prepping for ring ceremony, banner being hung, and the fun that really comes with kind of that piece, which everyone hopes to have. We're fortunate to be in that position. So now it's just really etching out and planning what that game day and the marketing that leads up to it to really kind of gain that excitement in our city.
What advice would you give somebody looking to become a president of a professional sports team?
I would say just anywhere from a job standpoint. If you're looking for growth, which ultimately, ends up possibly getting to this point and being very lucky, very blessed to be in certain positions, working with great people. So there's not really a roadmap I can ever give anybody that's going to be, destined to work, but the best efforts into how to get that promotion and hopefully be able to, step in if someone's sick or if, there's an opening, whether it's your team, someplace else, different job, anything else like that would be truly, I would say, be a sponge. Take on as many responsibilities as you can without really putting yourself in harm's way for your roles that you're, signed up and assigned to do. But do it with a smile on your face and know it's a learning opportunity. You're helping the team, and ultimately, hopefully, you're helping yourself just kind of become more well-rounded and and get ready for those next opportunities if they should arise.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media and Lakeland Magic at?
The biggest thing I'd say is that they should for sure follow at Lakeland Magic, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Great content, amazing content that comes out of our marketing and design team. And then myself, to be honest with you, I don't know if I know my social handles. I'd say from a professional standpoint, I'd say LinkedIn, assuming they're seeing this as being recorded, Hans Steinbrenner, you should be able to find me through Lakeland Magic. Otherwise, social media, you're not going to find anything really fun or engaging from just random listeners.
Thank you again, Hans Steinberg, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the Lakeland Magic's president.
Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate that.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Hans, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.